In the late 1990s, World Championship Wrestling was riding high. Its Monday Nitro show on TNT often beat WWF's Raw in the ratings. But by 2000, the momentum had collapsed. Creative missteps, like controversial storylines and management shakeups, and just plain old corporate indifference led WCW into this kind of slow death. By early 2001, it was bleeding money. Analysts estimated somewhere between $60 and $80 million in losses during 2000, even as its audience dwindled. AOL Time Warner's new executives, they lost faith. On March 26, 2001, WCW's final Nitro, known as Night of Champions, aired, and soon after WWF, now WWE, purchased WCW brand and video library for about $4.3 million, officially ending the promotion. The closing chapters of WCW were filled with turmoil. Turnover in creative leadership and costly gimmicks like David Arquette as champion really alienated fans. Key talent like Sting and Goldberg were tied to guaranteed AOL Time Warner contracts, but most of the roster just drifted into limbo. By March 2001, Jamie Kellner, the new Turner Broadcasting CEO, concluded that WCW would not be favorable to his new vision, and he canceled all WCW programming on TNT and TBS. Without a TV home, WCW's sale fell apart, leaving Vince McMahon's WWF free to acquire the remaining assets in March 2001. In late 2000, Turner executive Brad Siegel quietly gave WCW president Eric Bischoff permission to seek a buyer. Bischoff teamed up with venture capitalists Brian Beadall and Steve Greenberg of Fusion Media Ventures, the team that once sold the classic sports network to ESPN, and managed to raise roughly $67 million for a takeover bid. On January 11, 2001, Bischoff announced that an agreement in principle had been reached to buy WCW. WCW's locker room believed they were finally about to be saved. But Turner and soon AOL Time Warner imposed strict conditions. They insisted on retaining a minority stake and guaranteed broadcast time for WCW on TNT and TBS. Bischoff explored alternative networks like FX, but no deal materialized. When AOL Time Warner refused to allow a WCW free slate, a principal Fusion investor balked and withdrew support, forcing Bischoff to temporarily pull his offer. Meanwhile, the merger with AOL was completed on January 11, 2001. Ushering in Jamie Kellner as the new Turner boss on March 7th. Kellner quickly decided WCW didn't fit his strategy, deeming it out of sync with his advertiser targets, and pulled the plug. "We weren't able to fill arenas like we had," Bischoff later reflected. Once Eric got the deal to that spot, he thought it was done, but Kellner had other plans. So, on March 18, 2001, WCW held what would be its last pay-per-view, Greed. Just 2 days before that show, Jamie Kellner and Turner president Brad Siegel made the decision that sealed WCW's fate. According to Diamond Dallas Page, it was kinda like when you think your daughter is getting married, then the groom doesn't show up. With Bischoff's sale still unresolved, Kellner came right out and said that TNT was going to be a drama network and TBS would focus on comedy and sports, which basically meant wrestling was out. Not long after, Vince McMahon's WWF swooped in and acquired WCW's remaining properties. Bischoff's vision, even though it never got off the ground, was honestly pretty ambitious. The plan from Fusion was to shut down WCW for a little while, then relaunch it with a totally clean slate. The Big Bang pay-per-view, set for May 6, 2001, was billed as the creation of the new WCW. It was meant to be this explosive new beginning. They already had a new creative team and broadcast lineup ready to go. Production, honestly, would have looked completely different. It was planning to set up shop in Las Vegas, doing weekly shows at the Hard Rock Cafe's brand new 3,000-seat arena and splitting office space out in Los Angeles. The whole idea was to give WCW a glossier, more modern image. Think digital media savvy, with Bischoff saying Styles would help lead those digital media efforts, plus edgier commentary, and a real break from those stale late 90s storylines. For instance, ECW's Joey Styles was supposed to be the lead announcer for you, with longtime ECW voice Don Callis, and even Jerry Lawler, who was a free agent at the time, rumored for the broadcast booth. Bischoff himself summed up the plan. WCW would go off the air, then relaunch, giving fans, in his words, a clean piece of paper to draw on. As for personnel, many existing WCW talents would have returned under Fusion ownership. The final WCW roster included competitors like Scott Steiner, Diamond Dallas Page, Jeff Jarrett, who was a title holder at times, Rey Mysterio Jr., and, well, a bunch of others. In a relaunch scenario, the promotion likely would have focused on the younger and high-flying stars. Guys like Ray, Kidman, and the natural-born thrillers. That's Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Hare, while phasing out the outdated Millionaires Club tropes. Bischoff's team also eyed outside signings. In short, new WCW would have blended WCW's remaining homegrown talent with a revamped look, new branding, cleaner story arcs, and an emphasis on fast-paced action. So, what are your thoughts on this hypothetical WCW Big Bang pay-per-view card? Would you buy it? What would you change? Like and share in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.